The trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible. What a great hope we have, and how wonderfully sung. Derek Drover, come on in here. Let's get to know you. You've got a great story. A great CD, by the way. Let's take a look at that again. Worship and Wonder. Your first?
My first, yeah.
Not your last.
I hope not.
For sure. Good to have you here from Aylmer now, where you live with your beautiful wife, Danielle.
Yes.
Who is cheering over here. But home is Gander, Newfoundland.
That's right.
That's where you were born. And
Born in Toronto.
Oh,
raised in
really?
Gander, Newfoundland.
Okay,
yeah.
I missed that.
Well, that's part of the story.
Yeah, quite a story. You know, we think of the air disaster in December '85 when we think of Gander. Yeah, worst military crash in American peacetime history.
Yeah.
256 lost their lives there, and trees planted in memory of those precious ones. And we also think of the memorable hospitality that Gander provided at 9/11 when all those flights were rerouted.
Yeah, I just so happened to be home visiting my family at that time, and overnight, you know, the world was turned upside down. And the people of Newfoundland are known for their hospitality. They're known to be great people, and there wasn't a person that was left unattended. Everybody was taken care of. The love of God was really shown. The love for your fellow man was really shown in that time, and I saw my town population double overnight. And I was a part of you know, doing memorial services for people, and it was amazing how quickly people turned to the Lord in a time of trial. And sometimes we go around oblivious to His existence, but all of a sudden when we face something, He's the first one we turn to. So.
Well, you faced a few things, Derek.
A few things.
Just kind of getting here in one piece was a challenge at 1 pound. How many ounces?
13, I believe.
Now, medically, we just weren't in a good place to help you survive. Not as complex and capable as we are now. It was you were not expected to live.
No, I mean, obviously, while you're still alive, you still have a chance. But I was pretty much expected, you know, that I wouldn't make it. At some point, I would go, but.
You were just early.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with you. You were just too soon.
Just too soon. Yeah.
Well, you sure made up for lost time, didn't you?
Yeah. Put on a little weight since then. So, you know, I'm working on it. I'm still working on it. But it's just amazing. I just really think every day is a gift from God. And that's kind of a cliche, but to me it's true. Every day when you know that you're probably not supposed to be here, you realize every day is really a gift.
Now, you had some tough things to deal with. You have never met your dad.
No.
Your biological father.
Well, I've met him, but not that I can remember. I was
Your
just a baby.
parents divorced when you were very small.
Yeah.
But you had a great stepdad come into your life when you were just past toddler age.
Yeah, I did, and I really want to, you know, to focus on the positive side of my story. And there's so easy to focus on the negative all the time. So easy to think, you know, I've never met my biological dad, but you know, those circumstances were out of my control, and so I can't worry about the things that I can't control. I can only worry about what I can control. And what was great in my life growing up was that I had a wonderful, wonderful stepfather, the man that I call my dad, my father. And he took myself, my brother in, and raised us as his own. And my relationship with him gives me a great understanding of what being taken in by God is, you know, about the Lord's love and His saving power. Because basically, none of us deserve what God gives, and He takes us in as His own, and calls us His sons and His daughters. As we saw earlier.
Second best.
No, as we saw earlier, even princess. You know what I mean? Like from what Nick was talking about, and you know, and that's how I feel with my dad. I feel like he took me in, treated me as his own, loved me as his own, and I love him. As we say in Newfoundland, I love him to pieces.
Well, Dr. Jack Hayford was talking about our heart and giving our heart to the Lord. You witnessed at a very early age your mother's heart and life changing.
Yeah.
I think she was watching television.
Yeah, I can't say I have a good idea what she was watching, but for fear of being wrong, I won't say what show. But she was watching a minister on TV, and there was many events that led up to this time. But in that moment, she gave her heart to the Lord,
And
there
you
was
saw a change.
a significant change. I mean, not that she, not that it was so bad before that anything good would have been noticeable, but just a peace, and she explained to me what she had done. And she was just excited about it. She didn't really know anything about it, but she knew in her life she had to turn to the Lord. And
She explained this to you.
she did. Now, my story has nothing on her story. If you want a story, she's the one to talk to.
Well, we'll start with you today.
Okay.
Maybe Mom later.
Maybe.
So what ignited in your heart? We're going to be going now to a church service where you did something I don't think I've ever heard of this happening before. I'll be anxious to ask Jim if he's ever, as a pastor, been interrupted in the middle of a sermon for the reason that you interrupted the preacher. How old were you?
I was between 10 and 11, I think closer to 11 at the time.
Now, your mom had primed you. You were excited about what she had in knowing Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, my mom explained to me what she had done, and she'd given her heart to the Lord, and in a way that a child would understand it. To make things right, and go to heaven and have peace, and all the ways that a child would understand. And it was so simple to me that I thought, oh, great. Well, I must do this too. Well, when can I do it? And her response was, well, we'll go to church, because we didn't really know what to do, because we weren't Christian people really, and we didn't really have an understanding. And I said, well, okay, so I got to wait to go to church to give my heart to Jesus, and at the time it was, well, yeah, because we had no idea. And then she said, at the end, you'll get an opportunity, and you'll be able to go up and give your heart to the Lord. And well, this disturbed me greatly, because I didn't understand. What if the Lord came back? What if something happened
between now and the church
yeah,
service?
what something took place? What was I going to do? And so I had to do it right away. This was my feeling, and this is as it understood as a child. And it's a comical story, because eventually I get to church, and this is really my first time kind of being at church. And so I'm waiting and waiting and waiting, and not getting anywhere.
Derek?
Well, he didn't get very far, because I was kind of tired of waiting. So I made my way up to the front, and I was kind of waiting to see what was going to happen, and people were wondering, what am I doing? So finally,
What's this little boy doing up
I just started waving. I just started waving, looking at the pastor as he was preaching, and waving. And finally, he looked at me and said, "Young man, can I help you with something?" And I said, "Yes, I need to get saved. I need to give my heart to the Lord." I didn't have really much of an idea what it meant. I knew I wanted to go to heaven. That was explained. I knew I wanted to have peace and joy, and who doesn't want those things? I was 11, but I still wanted that. And so anyway, this pastor, Wayne Roberts, and I'm still in contact with him today. He's a great man. He stopped everything he was doing, came down, and led me to the Lord right there and then.
In front of everybody?
Yeah, and well, he asked where my mom was first, and asked her, just to make sure everything was okay, and I guess if I was mentally stable, maybe he was checking on that. But pretty much, I was just excited. I wanted to give my heart to the Lord, and it really wasn't complicated. It really wasn't a lot of things to worry about. It was just, yes, who wouldn't want this? Of course I want it. And I want it now. And then each, time after that, each week, in the weeks following, my father gave his heart to the Lord. He had served the Lord as a teenager, but wasn't at the time, and he rededicated his life. And then my brother, in not so embarrassing fashion, gave his heart to the Lord, and before you knew it, a family in ministry was born.
You came home one Sunday to a little keyboard. You had never had a piano lesson.
No.
What happened?
I walked in the door, and the one thing I liked about church was the music. I really connected with that. It was upbeat, it was fast, it was enjoyable. And I went to a little piano, a little keyboard about this big, and mostly all I did ever in the past was just push buttons on it and make annoying sounds and different things. But I came in and I started playing the melody to each of the songs with one finger. And my mom kind of picked up and recognized that I was playing something. And she said, "What are you playing?" I said, "Well, I'm playing the songs from church, the melody." And I kind of sing along and play. And that's how it started. And And she thought this was kind of weird because, you know, I'd never really done anything. So week after week, I would come home and do this. And I would remember the songs, first of all, that they would play, the words, the music. It just stuck with me. I started playing. And then I guess it's, you know, it's a God-given talent. I have to give the Lord all the credit. And I also have to say that, you know, throughout time, you know, I've worked that talent. Just as this, in the parable, it talks about that, you know, the Lord gives us talents and we are to develop them. And I don't want to get to heaven and for the Lord to be displeased with the talent that He's given me.
And how many instruments have you picked up, Derek?
Well, I play quite a few. So.
And your brother also.
My brother's a
self-taught.
fantastic musician. He plays quite a few instruments.
I think it's pretty cool that you've got a classical musician, trained classical pianist, who's having a gift exchange, or at least an exchange of expertise. She wants your liberty, and you want a little bit of her classical training.
Yeah, as I get older, I'm trying to get smarter, and you know, you can only rely, I guess, so long on something you do well until you say, I have to take it a step further now. And I think, you know, the Lord gives everybody different gifts and different talents. It may not be in music, but I think we always have to be refining and looking ahead and trying to do our best with what the Lord gives us, because this is how we witness who He is in the world to other people.